Well, clearly, the problem is with all commodities. It's with oil, it's with metals, it's with food. And demand is coming from developing countries, which are increasing their purchasing power. But it is also coming from biofuels, which that means some of the food is being burnt instead of being eaten by animals and eventually by people directly or indirectly. And then, of course, there's also this demand in the markets where the commodities have become a store of value. So they substitute more traditional financial assets because people feel more comfortable and safer by buying some futures of oil or metals or corn or soybeans or whatever than maybe buying a piece of debt.
It's quite fascinating to watch the response from the Middle East. It's fair to say, bar Saudi Arabia, the other central banks in the region don't seem to have the tools, the monetary tools, to deal with the challenge right now. Is that a fair comment?
Well, the problem is that these countries import all these things, and when these things suddenly double their value, clearly there's going to be an impact on inflation. Now, at the same time, these are developing countries. It's very difficult to suddenly cut down on the projects, cut down on the infrastructure, etc., because it's very badly needed. But they're going to have to obviously take this into account. Some of them, as you say, do not have the monetary tools and therefore cannot respond by monetary policy by increasing interest rates, for example.
As you know, on this program, we talk about sovereign wealth funds because of the money coming out of the Middle East and the Gulf in particular. The dialogue has improved. Can you reach a common ground within the next 6 months on the general principles to move forward?
I think the issue is too important to put a deadline on it, too important to be urgent, too important to rush it. However, we divided the job a little bit, and the IMF is working on the expected conduct from the wealth funds themselves, basically talking about some expected best practices, transparency, etc. We have been working on making sure that our member countries in the OECD practice what we have been preaching for decades already, which is to keep our markets open and to do so because we believe this is best practice ourselves.
One of the final challenges I'd like to talk to you about is the perennially low dollar right now, which makes some of these assets look very cheap. What's going to lead to a substantial change in mind over a dollar that's been weak for now 3 to 4 years?
The dollar is doing what a currency from a country that has a deficit in their external accounts should be doing, which is weakening. And that is helping to reduce the current account deficit of the United States.
Okay, final question. If I can get Middle East specific here, a number of these currencies are linked to the dollar, and they're growing very fast, these economies, and the U.S. is slowing down. Is it time to break this link, the dollar link to the Gulf currencies?
Very frankly, I think that if the oil or was put in any other currency, then it would be an adjustment automatically. It would cost the same amount that it is costing today in any currency in which you want to express it. So whether you choose to break the peg or not really is not as important. They are basically oil-based economies, and the oil is expressed in dollars, but you could express it in any other currency. It would simply have a different sign to it, but the underlying value would be the same.
Okay, it's nice to have you on the program, and nice to see you again. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.